one, live again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are double trouble today. You have no idea, man. We're getting things done. I hope you took a look at our last video, which we did earlier today, where we had Dr. Stephen Dini here with us. Hi again, Agnes. Hello again.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Isn't Dr. Dini wonderful, man?
Absolutely great. Absolutely great. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to search for Dr. Stephen J. Dini on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn, um, YouTube, and on Facebook, and go take a look at that video that we just did. But today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about avoiding tax mistakes when you are living abroad, right? I got that right?
Yes. Well, practically just pay your taxes. Don't even think that if you're going, you're moving abroad. But if you want to keep your citizenship, if you want to come back to this country, if you want to have benefits from this country, like, Social Security, uh,
All
it's
the
quite
tricks.
important. Yes, it's quite important to pay those damn taxes.
Yes, I would think so. All right, so ladies and gents, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Just give us 1 second. Live again from Long Island, New York. I'm Ryan O'Neill Williams. You are also speaking with Agnes Amisano, a tax professional. You're checking her out. You want to go to NY Tax Professionals. NY Tax Resolutions. If you're having issues, this is to say I'm hungry. This is 2 shows in a row and saying I'm hungry. If you are looking to figure out your tax problems, you want those issues to be taken care of. She's never seen a tax problem that she cannot fix. And that is why today we are going to be talking specifically about avoiding the mistakes that you can make if you are living abroad and trying to pay your taxes here in the United States. All right, Agnes, you are really gung ho about this. Tell me, set the stage for the problem. I live in Jamaica or Hawaii, and God bless you people over in Hawaii. I know you're going through a tough
Yes.
time right now. Say you live in Jamaica or Hawaii, this is how you dress because your business is somewhere else. You spend maybe 6 months of the year living there because it's nice and warm, and you don't want to live in the cold, or maybe you don't like the heat. Maybe you like to live in Norway.
I found quite interesting actually how many US citizens lives abroad. How many do you think?
Oh, you mean citizens? 35% maybe? How about, what do you think? 35% maybe?
It's approximately 9 million US citizens lives abroad.
Okay, so it's less than 10% then, because there's like
Yes.
350 million people here in the United States. Here's the thing. As a Jamaican, there are 3 million people who are Jamaicans who live on the island. It is estimated that over 1.5 million people who are Jamaicans live elsewhere. So it's a very interesting. It's like we're looking outward because we're constantly going.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. So
Yeah.
it's a small amount, but it's a decent amount. I mean, you've got military, you've got people who are working for countries who are going back and forth. A lot of international trade, right?
There are different reasons to move, to improve quality life. Because let's say, look, how much money did you spend when you went to Poland? See, like
Me, I I was there at the behest of a wonderful host, so I spent very little.
Forget that.
Bottom line is, for every US dollar that I would have spent 25 cents in Poland, because no matter what, it was 4 to 1, right?
Exactly. So like there's a lot of people moving to improve the quality of life because with Social Security going to live in some of the, not all of the countries in Europe, but some of them, you just get more for your money.
Right. Mhm.
So approximately 40% is moving to Canada and Central and South America. 26% goes to Europe. 14% goes to Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. 14% Middle East. 3% to Central and South Asia. And 3% goes to Africa.
Wow,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
Interesting.
what I find that interesting.
So what was number one again? Number one was where?
Canada, Central and South America.
Okay, okay. So Canada's like right there, so they can just
Yes.
drive home whenever they feel like it. But I get Central and South America because obviously that also could be a drive. It doesn't have to be a plane ride. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I get that too. Okay, that makes sense. So technically, they're staying home. They could literally be living in Alaska and still be in the United States. But I get it. I get it. I get it. Listen, I live here in the United States, and there's a reason why I live here in the United States. Um, there are a lot of things that are harder in a lot of other places, and so it makes sense here. But at the same time, if you make money here in the United States, and then you want to spend it somewhere else, that's also it makes sense because honestly, things in most countries, not all, in most countries are less expensive, and depending on whatever it is you're buying, right?
People move for different reasons, either the business or just quality of life or marriages,
Mhm.
So not I don't I don't think that too many people moves out for tax reasons
No,
um, itself, but I see a lot of people from what I know they will move for retirement to improve the quality of life or marriages.
right.
Not
Okay,
everyone wants to live in United States for a
right.
lot of different reasons. Life, let's say, personally, I prefer life in Europe because it's well, it's different. No,
Did
no.
you, did you tell David that you didn't have a problem? You tell David.
Well, I
David,
didn't say we, I said I. So,
you said, I'm your friend. In 20 years from now, he's like, "Oh, I was ready to retire. I'm ready to retire here." And you were like, "Mm-mm."
well, I'm dropping hints. I'm dropping hints, but let's see what's going to happen.
Is that what this show is really all about? Just
Alrighty.
doing, she's just doing research to figure out where she's going to spend her money and how she's going to pay her taxes in the United States while she lives somewhere else. So, okay, so what are the problems? What are the issues that could affect a person who is out there? What are the worst case scenario things that could happen? Like you were saying something about citizenship.
Yeah, well, to keep the citizenship, you really have to file your income tax. So the 1040, the income tax has to be filed. The estate tax has to be filed, and the estimate taxes have to be paid.
Okay, okay.
So that's very very important. You can collect your social security. Let's say I have a client who lives in Switzerland and she's very happy there, and her social security is being deposited to her account. But every single year we do file her taxes
Okay.
religiously. That in beginning of February, I can guarantee you she's contacting me with all the documentations that everything has to come to Agnes because we do have to file taxes. And you don't have to file state taxes, obviously, because you are abroad, but the federal taxes have to be filed. So many Americans living abroad qualified for special tax benefits, such as foreign earned income exclusion and foreign tax credit. But they only get them if they filing properly U.S. returns.
Okay.
So they can exclude foreign earn income tax their income up to 112,000, which
Okay.
in a lot of when you live in certain countries, when let's say Poland, their currency is zloty, it's a lot less than than US dollars. So you can earn nice income over there, and it's not going to come up to 112,000 US dollars.
Okay.
So it is
All right.
quite favorable. That's very beneficial. And $112,000, that's the last, as of 2022, that was the exclusion as of 2022 for US taxation.
Wow.
Now but again, 1040 has to be filed.
Okay.
um the foreign tax credit. The foreign tax credit offsets the income tax that they're paying abroad. So again,
Okay.
that's another benefits to U.S. Uh, citizens, because this way you are avoiding paying double taxes, right?
Right.
You're not going to
Okay.
pay taxes on the income that you're paying, that you have to pay in a country that you live, and you don't pay up to 112,000. You don't pay this taxes in United States. Now you
Okay.
can also claim foreign tax credit, which this is a special form 1116, and it is which has to be attached to your U.S. tax returns, and that limits on foreign tax credits. And on this form, you will have specific how much is the limit for each person will be a little bit different, but that
Okay.
form is very important. So when you talk U.S. citizens, when they talk to their accountants, they have to make sure that they qualified for that. Uh,
Okay. What would disqualify you from using that form?
well, the tax credits, it's really depends how much they making, or what kind of assets they have, what kind of businesses they have. That varies. For each person
Okay.
is different. For someone who is on Social Security, it's not a big deal. But when it comes to their assets, so we're talking about international bank accounts as well. Like I said,
Okay.
I do have another client who's got bank accounts in 5 different countries.
Yes.
We do have to, make sure that we have all the numbers from the beginning of the year, from the end of the year. And actually, that's very interesting for a single person living abroad. The threshold on the form 8938, which that's just another form when particularly refers to the assets. So on that particular form, for a single person living abroad, the threshold is 200,000 in foreign assets held by the end of the year, and 300,000 at any point during the year. And for the married couple, the doubles 400,000 is the threshold, and it's 600,000 at any point during the year.
So you pay no taxes on that if
After
it
that,
is anything. Yes.
that's
Okay.
correct. That's correct.
Right. You start paying over that threshold.
That's correct. That's
Mhm.
correct. So now, also on the gifts, there's a tax that estate gifts. The foreign person, the U.S. person can receive up to 100,000 in a calendar year as a gift. And again, it has to be reported, but then again, up to 100,000, there are no tax consequences. So if
Oh
you move
wow.
to,
Okay, but
if
you
you move
still have
to,
to report.
yes, well, they do have to report it, but there is no tax consequences. So if you
Okay.
move to Jamaica and your aunt or uncle will give you 100,000 as a gift, it's quite all right. You don't have to pay taxes on
And this
that.
is the equivalent of US 100,000, because
Yes.
in Jamaica it's about 100. I think it's 90 something to 1. So you would actually have to give me about $1 million to get to 100,000 US dollars.
There you go.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So Yeah, $1 million in Jamaica is not a lot of money. It is. It can still $1 million in Jamaica will buy you a house. And if you think about that, it's $100,000 in the United States. And to buy a house in the United States for 100,000 is it's highly unlikely, and especially not in New York. In New York, you're paying anywhere of 500 and up, like half a million US dollars instead. So
Just
it's
like in
very
Holland, we were looking around and beautiful, beautiful brand new houses with the
mhm,
piece of land of couple acres. You can get for 1 million zloty, which is their money. So
yeah,
it's like 200,000 and change, and you can have a beautiful property over there. So
right, right.
and what can you get for 200,000 here?
Nothing. There is nothing. You might be able to live in a storage closet.
Unfortunately, yes, yes, yes.
Not in New York. There might be places otherwhere, but not in New York. New York is tough for that. That
Yes.
might be a 1 bedroom apartment, in a place that's really noisy under the train, and your roommates are going to be rats or something. I just don't expect you to spend 200 grand
Yeah.
and be cool. Yeah, it's that's a car in in New York. 200. I'm kidding.
Unfortunately, and this
Yeah.
is see that's the whole thing. I decided to start talking about it because I actually did start thinking about retirement in the future. Of course, who knows? There might be in a particular country that I'm thinking about.
Right.
Um, you know, 10, 15 years from now. Because I repeat, I do not go to work till 70 and waiting till a
No.
few years later. Statistically, they say five 5 to 7 years after you retire, you die. So you're working your life, like 40 years you're working, 50 years you're working, and then after you retire, you can enjoy your retirement for 5 years before you drop dead. So
Yeah, that's horrible. See, I'm trying to rejigger that in my brain as retirement kind of means something else. Like I won't be working 9 to 5 every single day, but I think I'll still be working. You still need purpose. I think that's really what it is. You still need purpose. If you
see
don't have purpose, that's when
my
you
neighbor
wither
who is right now approximately 93. I think she stopped working part-time just 3 years ago. She was
Wow.
working part-time 2 3 days a week just because she wanted to be between people, which is fantastic. That's what I want to do. That's what really
Yes.
I want to do. With my personality, I don't see myself just sitting doing nothing. My retirement is my part-time job that I'm thinking about, and I would love to continue coaching people and giving marital advice. That's my retirement, the way I see it.
I'm just going to be annoying. I'm going to be the old man in the club and the old man at the chamber and the old man at church and the old man everywhere. I'm just going to go among because I love, honestly, come on,
Yeah.
I love people. I love talking to people. I love having conversations. I like interpreting, the way they are looking at things and getting new things. I have learned so much from these millennials. I have to tell you, there is so much to learn from them. There are a lot of older people, our age, like 50 and above, who just look at them as, oh, they're lazy this and they're lazy that. But you know what? Maybe in some cases, but I think that's everywhere, right? I think what is great about them is that they're teaching us something new and a new way to look at things because they've grown up and watched us and they're like, oh, I don't want that. I want
Exactly.
something else. And which makes a lot of sense to the backpack lifestyle where they don't live in one place. Some of them don't have apartments. They just go and live around the world at Airbnbs or whatever. And then they have their laptop just like this. And that's the business that they run, whether they're doing social media posts or they're running YouTube or whatever. They have no reason. Some of them have no reason to buy a home, even though, and that's what they're complaining about too. Oh, we can't afford to buy a home. No, you can't. You can't yet. You gotta wait till you're 30 or 40. Sorry, it took me almost. Yeah, if you don't have any backing from anybody else to do it, you have to save money. You got to save anywhere. Back when I was buying a house, it was $25,000. But whatever. Bottom line is, you've got to get somewhere to get there. And yes, this is a great thing for them to understand, because even though you're backpacking and traveling around the world, you still need to pay your United States taxes. So one of the things it sounds like can happen to you bad, since it sounds like you can lose your U.S. citizenship. Wow, is that crazy? Like, you're, even though you are born here, you could lose your citizenship because you're not paying your taxes.
Well, the practically to keep your citizenship, you're supposed to be 6 months in the country out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you decided to live abroad,
Right.
you establish your lifestyle there. You have assets, you have bank accounts, you have a house, um, and look at the thresholds. That's a lot of money comparing to
Yeah,
other currencies. That's a lot of money that you don't have to pay taxes on. I mean, how
right.
much? I'm looking at Europe because that's or even Caribbean countries. How much how many houses do you have to have, or how much do you think you're going to make to actually to start paying taxes on that? So it's between
Right.
the translation between their currency and US currency, you're getting away with a lot. Just don't forget to pay
Yeah.
your taxes. Just don't forget to pay your taxes. You can
Right.
still have beautiful quality of life if you decide to live somewhere else. If for me, that was very
Right.
surprising finding out that over 9 million. Of course, United States doesn't exactly keep track of to the last person, how many people lives abroad. But
Okay.
I can fully understand why people, when they retire, they want to live somewhere else, enjoying better climate, um, you know, better quality of life, where specifically they're getting more money for, um, you know, for the they're getting more for their money.
Right.
But um, you know, I do watch some shows. They're very silly to me, but I still I'm watching every week. People that they're moving abroad to find love, uh, but they are being so surprised with either a religion or cultures or custom, or they don't even speak the language. So
What? Come on, you gotta tell me about this show.
so
So they're
basically,
going. They have no idea where they're going, and they don't speak the language. They don't understand the culture, and they've gone to these places to go find love. And everybody's gonna reject them because what's the only thing that's going for you? I'm American. Is that what it is?
I guess in their minds. So, if if anyone wants to go, let's say for the better quality of life, and they say like, oh, I'm moving there, right? So, um, to research the destination, the culture, the
Yeah,
religion, the food, the language, cities, the crime level, the healthcare, all those things are extremely important. Wherever
yeah. I think so.
you can save money, but think about the health insurance the most. I think it's the most important. Um, Living of cost, and if there are medications that you own, because by the time you retire, I think you might need few things. If you're going to have to go travel every couple of months back home to refill your prescription, or can you get it there?
Mhm.
Um, Possible you have enough money, possible return ticket, because you know, again, moving somewhere without complete investigation how your life might look like, it's beyond my imagination. Yet a lot of people does it based on either movies or their fantasies.
I see.
Yeah. Leaving a paper trail wherever they're going, because we all heard certain things, like if you're going by yourself in a place where there's unknown, especially because you're an American, it might be quite dangerous.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
leaving paper trail is very important, or taking with you, um, at the beginning, I would say copies, to leave copies somewhere of your degrees, your birth certificates, your passports, and everything else, knowing where the embassies are. That's
right,
very important to make
right.
sure that everything is, in order. And God forbid you need some
Okay.
help, you should know where to go. Before you leave the country, you should
Right.
have a health check, because you do not know what kind of doctors are there. I have to tell you this off topic. Once in Caribbean countries, I was on vacation and I had a toothache. I went to the local dentist. I have to tell you, I was cured right after when I walked into the um, waiting room. When I saw bloody marks of hands on the walls, I'm not going to say which country, and the patient had a tooth removal in the office, and the agonizing screaming, the kind of, I never had problem with that tooth again. I just walked in and I walked out and I was cured. So there are some surprises out
I
there.
gotta say, someone recently told me that they went to a hospital in another country and they immediately caught COVID. So that's part of it. But yeah, and the waiting room was very, very disturbing. And I was surprised because the country that they told me it was up until recently very closely connected to England. And so I was surprised to hear that they didn't have. And she said the care itself, once you got in, care was great. But waiting in the waiting room and seeing what was going on in outside there, she had a term for it. I think it was waiting room of death or something like that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it
quite,
looked like.
quite fitting, quite
Yeah.
fitting. Yes,
She was like, once you got in, fine. But while you were waiting out here in the open area, oh my gosh, you were scared.
yeah.
And she was like, okay. She said people were laying down on the ground, but I know Caribbean people, and I know a lot of us choose to go to the doctor only when it is absolutely, absolutely necessary. Now it's become an emergency. So I do understand it. If you go somewhere, it's going to be the emergency room of pain. But yes, all right. So you talked about what you should do if you live abroad, and basically, you're talking about more like a retired person who lives abroad, right? And then has their money, maybe their social security money still coming in, maybe they have a business here and that's coming in, or wherever it is that they're coming from, that's one way. But how about someone who lives here maybe 8 months of the year and then has set up multiple businesses abroad? Basically, is that some of the stuff still applies, right? Because you were saying that
That's
whatever
different.
accounts you have in other places. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
That's a little
basically,
bit different, because if majority of the time you live in United States and you
mhm,
just have foreign assets,
yeah.
then you just do that on your 1040, on your personal tax returns. You are
Okay.
declaring, there's always a question, do you have foreign assets? And
Okay. Great.
then, again, you can offset certain taxes by the amount that you're paying in the country where you're running your business, but you do have to declare those foreign assets. That's different thing. That you just simply own
Excellent.
foreign assets, you know. But
All
if
right.
you
Very well.
decided that you live somewhere else and you are, but you still want to call down to your citizenship, you do have to stand up and own your obligations, which one of your obligations is to file your taxes. It
Right.
it's my
And I would also say if you're go ahead.
It might be scary because, oh my god, I sold the house, and how much money am I going to have to pay? I'm paying taxes there, and then I have to pay here. But again, the numbers that you can offset here, they're all in US dollars.
Right.
When you live somewhere else, like, well, if you live in Canada, that might be a little bit different because prices are more closer to ours. The dollar
Yes.
is not that big of a difference. But again, if you want to hold on to your citizenship, you do have to pay your taxes, because if you want to have your citizenship, you want to have your benefits. And again, depending for what reason are you moving abroad.
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
you know, you just never know. Don't burn your bridges, because you never know how it's going to work out in the long term. If you're going
Okay.
to
Okay.
a lot of US citizens are used to certain freedoms that we take for granted, especially when we're going other places.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So not for everyone will be suitable. Someone who was born and raised here and going somewhere else is like, well, you cannot spit on a street. You cannot just go and kiss someone on a street. You have to behave when you are in a public place, or you cannot exactly very um, um, freely express your opinions.
These
Different.
are very specific examples, Agnes. It leads me to think you know something I don't know. But that's fantastic. Yeah, you're right. I know that in Singapore, I remember hearing when I was like 17, 18 or so, and was starting to think about where I wanted to live in the world, that some kid was caught spitting gum out on the streets in Singapore, part of Singapore, and they caned him, basically put him lay down and take a cane, like a hard stick, and smacked it on the bottom of his feet so it hurt, so he wouldn't do that ever again. And I was like, for spitting gum out on the street, but it's really important to them. So if you get in trouble for doing that, then you know you're not going to commit murder, right? You should probably not. You probably should know that those other things are going to be worse. So I assume that that's what they're doing. There was a similar thing here in New York at one point where they used to go after everybody for all the little crimes, and then that made it so that the other crimes were reduced as well. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, you can't just go to someone's country and decide that you're going to behave in the exact same way that you were behaving here. In fact, some of the way people behave here shouldn't be allowed, much less the way they
Very
behave.
true, very true. But I have one of my clients that she lives one place in Europe, and she likes to go into this cafe. And she's a very
Mhm.
outgoing person. She likes to just go and start talking to people. And she goes, people don't like me. So I don't think that people don't like you. You just don't disturb people when they read and when they do something. You just don't come up to them and say, hey, I'm so and so, how you doing? So how is your day going? Like they are not used to that. They're looking at her like, why are you bothering me? This is
Yeah.
Iceland, Norway. You cannot just stand to someone closer than 2 3 feet, because they have their boundaries. You have.
Culturally, they're different. That's all it
Yes.
is. Yeah. You can't walk up to someone in Jamaica and just, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? And be like, what?
I'll be going the other way. Please don't follow.
And now you've told them that you're a tourist, right? And which is also a mistake to make in certain parts of the country. Don't do that.
One one of my cousins, she came to New York, and they just told us like, why everyone looks so, dressed so boring. I said, what do you mean? Because during the day they see them like gray, dark blue, like at all the pastels colors as it, and yes, and as they looking at you, your shirt, your sneakers, as it, you are screaming, I'm a tourist. Because as in when people going to work, they dress different way. They don't go like very flashy when
Right,
they go
right.
into the office. There is certain culture that with respect and modesty and everything else. Is it, and are you going to work this week? I was like, well, yeah. It's like, okay, but that's why you don't live here, so like,
Yeah, again, cultural, just cultural difference,
yes,
right? I mean,
yes,
it is true. In see here in the United States, all the kids go to school, they wear whatever they want, right? In Jamaica, you wear the same thing. Everybody in school wears the exact same thing. It's a uniform. You must wear either brown, drab, khaki, or at my high school, we wore like a royal blue top and a navy blue bottom, and it had to be black shoes. If you wore white shoes, off gray shoes, brown shoes, hey, what's that? Come here, and they take you up to see the principal. So it's very, you know what I mean? It's so different. Like you can express yourself in high school here, but there it was very much like everybody wears the same thing so that we don't have a problem. I mean, even if you like turned up your collar like this, like one of the kids was just coming turn it down because now you're differentiating yourself from everybody else. No, you're here to learn. That's all we're here to do. So it's a very cultural thing. It's not, I don't think it's bad or it's good. It's just that is the way they were. And then when you're done, you go home, you can wear anything you want. You can wear your Hawaiian shirt, you can wear whatever you want. But at school, you expect you to dress like this.
yes.
And I get it. I get it. New York, black is probably the number one color you see at work. People wear black or dark brown or dark grays like all the time. And it's usually black, brown, maybe tan shoes, burgundy shoes. If you're a fancy lawyer, you might wear burgundy shoes, but it's usually black, brown, and tan. And that's all. That's all. That's
And the
all.
funny socks. And the funny sock.
Uh, now, yes, that's now allowed. Funny socks. Funny socks are now allowed. It used to be you had to wear just straight up normal socks, but now they lifted up the socks to show, like Santa Claus smoking weed on their socks. I'm like, what is that? What are you
I'm
doing?
all serious, but my
Yeah,
feet are funny.
my feet are funny. That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah, yeah.
right.
So
Okay.
altogether, to sum up, it's some people are afraid. From a lot of my clients, I have noticed that even when people that they're U.S. citizens, friends of mine, they move to Poland and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to sell her house. How much that's going to cost me?" And it's like it's not going to cost you. Just think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna make 300,000. It's still, you're not coming even close to the money that you can offset of your, or if you file proper taxes. So you just talk to the accountant that knows what they're doing, because there's certain forms. I'm not going to start throwing numbers at you right now, but there are forms with 1040 that they have to be submitted, that with exactly listing what are your foreign assets, how much was at the beginning and at the end of the year, what is the, if this is what currency is there, if this is euro, of this is a shekel, of this is what of whatever that is. It's just a matter of keeping track of it and be honest with it, because when you are audited, it's not worth it. For
Yeah,
$50, it's not worth it. And please remember that money will vary, because we're talking about offsets in American dollars, not the currency where they live. So it's,
right.
and US offers so many beautiful benefits that you can still use it, even if you live abroad,
Good,
even if
good,
you live
good.
abroad.
So,
So
so, so it's not even just paying your taxes, but really just filing your taxes, because a lot of times it sounds like you won't even be paying
Yes.
anything. Just set your clock, mark it on the calendar, and when February comes around, gather your stuff so you can send it to Agnes, and then you
There
can
you
get your
go.
tax.
There you go. There you go.
And you know where you're going for that. You're going to go here. You're going to go to nytaxresolutions.com to go get that. We're about at the end of our show. Thank you so much for enlightening us about this, Agnes. If you are living abroad and you would like to avoid tax mistakes, you just want to take a look at your books and figure out what's going on. You haven't filed in many years. You're afraid you're going to lose your citizenship and or your status. Check in at nytaxresolutions.com. That's where Agnes is, and Agnes can probably
And just
unravel that and help you figure it out.
And just one a quick reminder, if
Mhm.
you're going to let it go and you're going to wait, God knows how many years, and your penalties can add up to more than what you actually own. Just please remember, if you own 50,000 American dollars or more, you're you're going to lose your passport, and then you're not going to be able even to come back home if something happens abroad. So it's very
Wow.
important to prevent those problems, because
Yeah.
if you are unhappy somewhere else and you want to come back home, you're not going to be able to, or you're going to be seized at the customs.
I
So
got to
you
tell you, when we came back in from Poland, earlier this year, the guy paused and was looking at my passport and started asking me what kind of work that I did, and he was looking at the computer and whatever, and I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" And I realized I had just uh, pay taxes. Like a couple of months, maybe a month before we went on our trip out there.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, what the heck happened? And he was just checking. He was like, what kind of work do you do? Blah, 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 blah. They are checking as you are entering the country, and they know your status. And if you are a person who is a naturalized citizen like me, because I wasn't originally born in the United States, you're a naturalized citizen, they can take that away from you. So be very careful about where you're going,
not
what you're doing,
only
and
not just
file
citizens,
your
they will take your passport away. They will seize you. One of my clients had that kind of situation. He came back with his girlfriend from beautiful romantic uh, vacation, and they took him to the room and they told him that IRS is looking for him and they seizing his passport.
wow.
It did happen. So there is no room to play. You want to be free. You want to travel. Do not sleep on your taxes. Just
Yeah,
don't.
they won't let
Yeah.
you go. The IRS is looking.
Yeah.
IRS is looking for you, sir. You
Yeah.
can't leave the country until we sort all this out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
Good.
happens. So it's nothing to joke with. It's important issue, and it's really not that difficult. It's just you just have to file federal taxes. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. It's filing. There may not be any paying, but filing is absolutely necessary, depending on what it
Yes.
is, right?
Yes.
Very well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, unless you have something else to explain, say hello to our Polish
Oh,
people. Say
I
hello.
do. I do have one thing to say.
Okay, okay.
Happy birthday to my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. Happy
Wilma,
birthday.
I wish you all the best years of happiness and health. Happy
Okay,
birthday.
all right. Very well. All right. Happy birthday, Mel. I think one of my cousins has a birthday today. One in the Air Force. It's actually I think today is his birthday too. So Levon, happy birthday, man. What a
You
one.
know whose birthday it is also?
Ooh, who's else?
Remember the lady whose voice has is like a song?
Whose voice is like a song? Oh, did I do that? I'm sorry. See, when I do those things, it's like, oh, your voice sing songs. Okay, really? It's her birthday today too?
Ola Stolat.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right. Very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I
That's
have to
good for
write.
her.
I have to write.
Congratulate. Well, I'm not going to
Yeah.
ask people what their well, our old friends is born in August as well. So it's a great, great time. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're hoping to see you sometime next week here on Love, Death, and Taxes. If you have something that you would like to share with us, or that you would like to request of us, or you would like to have us talk about, please send it to mailbag at lovedeathandtaxes.com. If you're looking for a resolution to your tax issues, that's where you're going, nytaxresolutions.com. And I'm Ryan O'Neill Williams, signing off for me and my co-host over here. Over here. I don't know how I do that every time. Agnes Amisano. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Okay. All right. Bye bye, Agnes.
Bye bye.